This video will save you time, money, and help you avoid frustration. I guarantee it. The topic? File management. Now don't click off. I know this isn't a super sexy topic, but it will have a huge impact. I'll tell you how to organize things, how to name stuff. Most of my assets, believe it or not, are within 2 clicks away at any given moment. You are not an island onto yourself as a content creator. What I mean by that is you need to share your stuff. You need to move it around to different constituents. You'll be dealing with these people on these platforms and these operating systems. And you might not think you use Linux, but guess what? Web servers are all Linux. These tips will help you avoid frustration and be super efficient. All right, buckle up. Here we go. The first thing we'll cover is how to name your files. Very important. But first, let's talk about acceptable characters. Characters you can and cannot use. Simply put, only use letters, numbers, underbars, dashes, also known as hyphens, 1 period before the suffix. That's it. Those are the only things you should use to name your files. Now, there's a whole bunch of reasons why that's the case and a whole bunch of errors and stuff that could happen. It's kind of techie. You don't even need to know it. I'm going to tell you because I'm a techie, nerdy type guy. It is some characters look like code from HTML, which could be seen as an attempt to hack or inject code into a system. Some characters are reserved by the operating system. In other words, things that separate the folders, you have to have a character between there, like under the hood. If you put that character in a file name, the system might think it's a folder, so they're forbidden. Some things work on some systems, some things work on other systems. That's why you have to use the lowest common denominator to guarantee you're not going to run into any problems. Notice I did not say spaces. Spaces are excluded. This is the thing that really trips people up the most.
I like to put spaces in there. It's just visually easier to read. Matt, I can put spaces on my operating system. Nothing happens. Nothing's wrong.
Again, you got to think big picture. Remember, you'll be moving your files around to other people and systems. They can come into a problem. For example, Matt space Haas.pdf looks like this on the computer and looks like this on the web. See how it took that space out and turned it into that gobbledygook? Could run into real problems. All right, lowercase all day, every day. Do not use capital letters in your file naming. There are rare cases where some systems see the case as separate characters. So you could have mat.pdf, lowercase, mat.pdf, capital Mat, capital M. They'll be seen as 2 separate files. You try and move them, both those files onto your computer. Computer won't allow it. Check this out. Web servers on the left, 3 objects, named the same thing, just different capitalization. Boom, only 1. The computer picked 1 at random. No error message. Also, pay particular attention to how things will sequence inside folders. If you have a number as part of your file name, consider a leading 0, Mat 01, Mat 02, through 9 and then 10. This could alphabetize it correctly. And some systems will do it like this, and some will do it like that. Avoid that problem. Force everything to behave the way you want by doing that. You could also prefix stuff. If you have a bunch of GIF and JPEG images that are of emojis, and you're using those as little on-screen stuff, prefix all of those files with the word emoji hyphen. Then they'll all stack up next to each other in a long list of videos, overlay assets, graphics, marketing, thumbnails. When you're building stuff for a YouTube video, you're going to stack up all kinds of different stuff. Keep them all in one folder, but just kind of group them with prefixes. Make your life easier. I put all these tips in a free downloadable PDF. Go get it here. All right, now we're going to talk about how to name your files. Thankfully, this has a lot of flexibility. The main points are name the document for what it actually is. And most importantly, you want to name it the way your future self would likely search for it. So how you would search for that document way off into the future. Put yourself in the mindset of future you. How would you search it? Try and keep it as few words as possible. The prefixes. I like the prefixes. I have all of these YouTube channels, so these are the prefixes. All of my assets will have those prefixes on them. So if I do a search for banner, let's say, I'll get a whole bunch of JPEGs in my search results. I can note instantly by just looking at the prefix, that's the banner that I want. Also, version. You can do underbar V01, 02, 03, and that's a good way to tell. That way, if you do a search for something and you see 9 items, all similarly named, the one that's 09, that's your most current one. That's probably the one you want. And then 1 dot and the suffix. Again, all lowercase, no spaces. Follow the acceptable characters. That's how you name your assets. Now let's talk about where to put all of your files and how to organize them. All of my stuff is within 2 clicks away. It's really awesome. I'll show you how it looks on the Mac. This stuff carries over to Windows, so just stick with me. Macs and PCs have something called documents. They have a document area, and that's where most of the fun happens. I've break things down into 3 main areas. Those areas are vids. That's where all my YouTube videos are created. FB marketing. That's all marketing material, mostly images and things like that that I create. And then everything else sort of stacks up here in fun, and I have some other miscellaneous things there. However, you'll notice in the bar, the left bar of my open window, we've got these shortcuts. Well, these come with the Mac, but I have added these 3 down here. It's a super simple technique. You just take whatever you want and put it there, and now every window that you create, every new window, it's got that item on it. If you don't want it, you can just remove from sidebar. If you are on a PC, you can pin to taskbar. You can put these folders, pin them to the taskbar. Why is this important? Now when I want to get to my stuff, I can just click right in it. Let's talk about the videos. For the videos, here's those prefixes again. These are different videos for my different channels. Piano Awesome, Awesome Fun Things, All Things YouTube. And then all of my stuff just stacks up in there. Some of them have a lot of things and some of them have just a few. Like whatever I needed to cobble together that video, they go here. Facebook marketing, every piece of marketing material I do, whether it's thumbnails for my morning shows or special thumbnails for my Monday show, or I did a marketing graphic here about a brand workshop, it all gets just shoved in here, and it's just first in, first out. I have it sorted by date, so the newest date is at the top, and that seems to be good enough for just miscellaneous marketing stuff. It just gets thrown in there willy-nilly. I rarely have to go back to it. If I do, I've got some sense of what the dates are, and everything's labeled pretty clearly as to what they are. Don't have to overthink it. Now, here's the powerful thing. Vital. What is this? Vital? And it's in all caps. The only item I have with capital letters, and it's for good reason. When you go into Vital, this is the things I use over and over and over again. So I've got my logos for my channels here. And I've got all templates that I use and overwrite and make different. I make this every month. I put a new month on there and change the color scheme. So if it's something, if it's a template I need or a graphic I use over and over again, it goes here. This is my standard image of myself. If I create a new social network, that's my profile pic. It's always right there. Now, here's the fun thing. This Vital does not exist in the Documents folder. Look, it exists in Dropbox. Do you see that? Dropbox. That's right. I have the free version of Dropbox. It gives you 2 gigs. And now the stuff exists on my phone, on this computer, on that computer, on my tablets. Dropbox is everywhere. And it's great. Now, I don't put big, heavy, large stuff in Dropbox. I kind of live within the free stuff. And, this stuff over here, these are just PNG files, JPEG files. These aren't real large, super big files, but it's so convenient. You could also use iCloud Drive, OneDrive. There's lots of these different services out there. Google Drive. That's super convenient. And these shortcuts also show up in dialog boxes, like save dialog boxes. Let me open Photoshop. If I wanted to save this somewhere, I could call up my save dialog. Okay, I want to save it as a PNG, hit export. And then look, it defaulted me here on desktop. I don't want to be on desktop, but look, boom, right into marketing. All things YouTube, pill, blue, boom, that fast. That was 1 click away. And sometimes this is another thing. You'll notice when I'm here, I have this export as. That's a different dialog than, say, if I just do save as. Now, this is a different type of dialog. And look, it reverted me back to the desktop. So 2 different types of dialog boxes default to a different location on your drive. Does it matter to me? Nope, because I'm just boop, boop, boop. So those shortcuts show up in many different parts of your computer, because I always save a Photoshop version and the actual JPEG or PNG file. I save both because I want the layers. Usually I have multiple layers on Photoshop. I don't want to flatten everything down to a PNG file. I want to sometimes go back to that Photoshop file. Big time tips here, folks. Big time tips. Thumbs up if this is helpful.